What's up guys and welcome back to On The Brick. A while ago when I had only 200 subscribers, I did my first Q&A. We've kind of grown a little bit since then and I've had a lot more questions come in, so I thought I would do another one. There are a lot more questions to answer this time around and I don't know how many of them I'm going to do, so let's get started. Let's get the basics out of the way first. What's your real name? John. How old are you? 26. Where were you born? Canada. Where do you live? Not Canada. How long have you collected Lego? Since I was 13 years old. What mock UCS set would I recommend the most? When it comes to mock UCS sets, I have built the Nebulon, Empire over Jeddah, Venator, Lucre Hulk. Then two sets I've not shown off on this channel, the Razor Crest and the Zeta Class Shuttle. Out of all of those, I would highly recommend Papa Glop's Razor Crest the most. We'll be seeing my review for it 1 week from today when The Mandalorian Season 2 comes out, but the short version is, it is an absolutely incredible build that I would highly recommend in every way. How's your World Trade Center project coming along? Okay, so we've grown a lot since I put this video out there, so I might need to do a quick recap. I designed a 2-scale model of the original World Trade Center complex that is about 16,000 pieces in all. My hope is that with your help over the next year, I can finish this project in time for the 20th anniversary, and there is even a possibility that it can be donated to the Memorial Museum in New York. That said, the project is going kind of slow, and a lot of that is thanks to the world situation at the moment, personal situations happening outside of the channel, and just the fact that I'm really bad at promoting things and kind of keep forgetting to put it out there. I do have people asking me about this at least once a week though, which I sincerely appreciate. So hopefully we can start getting this back on track and have it really start moving along. What was my very first Lego set? Well, I don't actually know if it was Lego, but there is a home video of me when I was 2 years old opening up one of those like Duplo style sets. I don't actually know if Duplo was around back then or if it was Lego or anything, but that would technically be my first. But the first Lego set that I remember owning was the very first Lego Cantina. What's my favorite Star Wars ship? That would be the Y-Wing. I just absolutely love the Y-Wing, every iteration of it. I love the Clone Wars Y-Wing, the original Y-Wing, and even the New Republic Y-Wing. Here's a big one. What are my thoughts on the Star Wars sequels? First, I just want to say that these are still canon. Sorry, but they are. I think Episode 7 is actually a really good movie, and I really did enjoy it when it came out, and still do today. There are some tiny things about it that I would change, but overall it was a very safe movie and I did really like it. Episode 9 was a fun movie, albeit very fast paced. And again, even though there are some really dumb things in there, I did enjoy it overall and I've seen it multiple times since it's came out and I still enjoy it every single time. I think part of it is because I do have a lot of really weird Star Wars knowledge, and so I know things like Anakin didn't actually build C-3PO, so him not being able to speak Sith isn't really that bad. While it was a good end to the trilogy, it was by no means a good end to the saga as a whole. And there are several things that I would change this time around, but overall I did enjoy it. Episode 8 is the worst Star Wars movie to ever be made. I would genuinely rather sit down and watch the holiday special than I would watch Episode 8 ever again. Literally the sole reason that the sequel trilogy is bad is because of how Episode 8 handled things. Rian Johnson didn't set out to make a continuation to Episode 7 or even to make a good movie. He only wanted to subvert expectations. And unfortunately, that left us with the mess that is The Last Jedi. And look, there's just a lot of wrong with this movie. On the technical side, as a movie, it's just really boring. It's incredibly slow with not much happening for a lot of it. They try to make you feel things for characters that you just don't know. And it all culminates in a really fantastic place about 30 minutes before the movie actually ends. It all surrounds a plot point about fuel that really doesn't make sense in Star Wars and is actually broken multiple times in the movie itself. I mean, seriously, like the stupidest thing in the movie for me is when Finn and Rose leave on the transport pod and they show it being hidden from Holdo and not from the entire First Order army behind them, because apparently Holdo was more of a threat to them leaving than the First Order. And then they come back completely undetected, which makes me think that if they could do that, why weren't they just ferrying people away? Also, there's a lot of really bad dialogue in the film. When they're on Crate, there's two people sending out the messages, and one of them goes, "They've received our messages, but they're not responding." Then the other character responds something like, "They've heard us, they're just not saying anything. And I remember just sitting there in the movie theater thinking, yes, that was literally just said. Thanks for repeating the same information again. The biggest problem with episode 8 is that it pretty much killed off anything built by episode 7 and left nothing for episode 9. Who are Rey's parents? Well, it doesn't matter anymore, they're nobodies. Who was Snoke? Doesn't matter, he's dead. What's Luke Skywalker been up to for the last 30 years? Well, apparently not much, and oh, also he's dead now too. Hey, well, I mean, they blew up Starkiller Base, so that's gotta be a pretty big deal. Nope, the First Order reigns is literally the first words you see on screen. Remember those Knights of Ren that we thought would be cool? Nah, we're not even gonna show them in this movie. So what did it leave episode 9 with? Literally nothing. Snoke was dead, and the entirety of the Resistance could fit aboard the Millennium Falcon. The only thing I thought it was setting up was a potential civil war within the First Order, and that didn't even happen. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Now, if you like The Last Jedi, I don't care. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions, and if you enjoy it, all the more power to you, man. Enjoy it. I just personally don't. Okay, what are my thoughts on the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy? I actually grew up with the prequel trilogy, so those are my favorite. Episode 3 is my favorite movie, and episode 1 is my second favorite movie. Episode 2 is a really good story, it's just told kinda poorly, but overall I can still watch it. Episode 4 is actually incredibly slow until they get to the Death Star, but once they're there, it really picks up and is worth it. Episode 5 is fine. I don't really know why so many people love this movie as much as they do. I mean, it's good, but it's also really slow too. And episode 6 is easily the worst of the original trilogy. It is ridiculously slow for almost the entirety of the film, but it does have some really awesome moments, and by the way, I'm saying all of this, but I do enjoy all 6 of those films. Also, I liked both Rogue One and Solo. See, I'm kinda one of those guys that just likes everything Star Wars except episode 8. What are my thoughts on the Clone Wars, both 2003 and 2008? 2003 was a whole lot of fun, and if you haven't seen it, it's for free on YouTube right now, so I would highly recommend it. Personally, I'm a little glad that it's not canon, as the Jedi are way overpowered, but it is an incredibly enjoyable experience. But the 2008 Clone Wars is so good. I know the first few seasons are a little iffy, but especially around season 4, it really picks up and just gets so good and so worth it. There are some bad episodes sprinkled throughout, but as a whole, I think the story really grows, and people like Ahsoka really grew throughout the show. If you've ever doubted watching it, I would highly recommend it as well. Do I like decaled figs from Jonak, Teo, AV, or Clone Casts? Right off the bat, I've never heard of Clone Casts, but I have looked into them, they seem fine. I can't really say much about Teo's Lego Garage, which is why I also haven't made a video about them yet. I've only purchased from them once. It was fine. I had no issues with them. Jonak's decals are a little too simple for my personal taste. He's going for the 2020 or very realistic Lego look, so that's perfectly fine for a lot of people. But the reason that I got into customs in the first place was because of how detailed and how nice they looked. The store is one of the best places to buy decals overall though, and I would still recommend that. And lastly, when it comes to AV figures, their designs are the best for a reason. Unfortunately, his store and his customer service are not, so if you want to buy an AV figures decal, I would highly recommend doing it from somewhere else. Do you prefer Yub Nub or Victory Celebration? Well, you're not yubbin' if you're not nubbin'. Someone asked me what my favorite Lego set ever was, and for some reason in the original response I said it was the Saturn V, but that's not true. The original UCS Y-Wing is actually my favorite Lego set, and the Saturn V would definitely be second. Hey, now that you hit 1,000, or actually 2,000 subscribers, are we gonna get a face reveal? This is one that I've actually thought about for a while, and I have to say probably not. I want my channel to grow from the content that I put out and not from who I am. Face is definitely out there, and it's not too hard to find at all. As for when or if I'll reveal it on this channel, we'll see. Let's say maybe 10,000 subscribers. Do I collect any other themes outside of Star Wars? I collect both architecture and modulars. I have every single modular from the Palace Cinema until the bookstore, except for the corner garage, just because I don't like how that one looks. You can add more tiers or exclusive items for your patrons. There are several things in the works, some which have worked out and some which have not. Do remember that I'm probably going to do something like a Minecraft server soon, or if I reach $100 a month, I will be doing monthly minifigure giveaways for for my patrons. I'm gonna start making more behind the scene videos as well. I've just been exhausted these last few weeks. Also had an idea to do a podcast with a friend of mine. It's just a little hard to find the time to do that. If you have any ideas of what you would like to see on my Patreon, please put it in the comments down below, and please don't forget to go and check it out and maybe join. Also, if you join at the $5 level, you get 50% off my instructions, and at the $10 level, you get them for free. Do I watch M&R Productions? Not really. When I need to check out something LEGO related, his videos are the first place that I go, and if there's a set that I'm not going to review, I usually watch his first as well. But I don't actually watch that much YouTube in general, and when I am watching it, it's not really LEGO related stuff. Hey, I saw that you like Avatar: The Last Airbender. I was wondering, what are your thoughts on The Legend of Korra? I had to record that line 3 times because I kept saying legends. Now, this is a very interesting one because I absolutely loved and still love The Last Airbender. So when The Legend of Korra Season 1 came out, I sat down and I watched every single episode of it. Now at the time there was only supposed to be that one season, and it was about halfway through that a second season and ultimately more were greenlit. This changed a lot of things about Season 1 and a lot of things about the show overall. I think if the show had stuck to being just one season, it would have been perfectly fine. I do think Season 1 is pretty okay, but I don't think that it lives up to any of the seasons in The Last Airbender. In fact, I really enjoyed it until the season finale. Korra losing her bending was awesome, and it was something that I thought was changed with the show's renewal. Korra suddenly being able to airbend was also incredibly awesome. At that point I thought, okay cool, that's what the next few seasons are going to be about then. But then the episode is almost over, and suddenly Aang just shows up somehow and gives her back all her bending. And that sole moment ruined the entire season for me. Not only did it break the world, but it really soured everything that had happened up until that point. Also, not to mention that the first time we see Aang go into the Avatar state was this really amazing moment aboard the Fire Nation ship. The first time we see Korra go into the Avatar state, she's standing over a cliff all by herself. And then came the very long wait till Season 2. Last episode of Season 1 came out in June of 2012, and it was over a year until Season 2 came out in September of 2013. Do remember that in that time, there was almost no information coming out at all. But more importantly, in that time, I personally changed a lot. Literally like 2 days after Season 1 ended, I started a journey that took me around the world. I came home after that, got my first job, moved out of my parents' home, and a lot happened before Season 2 ever started. So when Season 2 finally did come out, it felt like it was just a hard reset on Korra, and that nothing had changed for them while a lot had changed for me. Korra had a lot of character growth in Season 1 that was kind of thrown out in Season 2, and I found it really hard to care, especially when half the episodes were really boring. And look, I know that Season 2 is the worst season of that show. Eventually came the episode with Juan, and I actually really loved that episode, but when it was over, I realized that my favorite episode of the show was the one where the main character wasn't in it, so I kinda just stopped watching. Eventually I did find out what happens in the rest of Season 2, and then through Seasons 3 and 4, and I don't really want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't watched it, but there is some stuff there that I really don't like, and it's because of that stuff that I've never gone back to finish the show, and I don't think I will. I could literally talk about this for a very long time, but there are more questions to get to. Do I have a personal favorite figure? Yeah, that would be the Iron Mandalorian. I love Iron Man, I love Star Wars, I love puns, it's all 3 in 1. Do I make the custom Black Series display boxes that I show in my minifig showcases? And you can buy the instructions for only $1 over at extraminifigures.com, and if you use code BRICK, you get 10% off. Have I ever made a mock? Outside of the ones that I sell the instructions for, I assume this question is more along the lines of something that Solid Brick Studios or Rich Boy J do. In that regards, no, not really. Again, I have the 16,000 piece World Trade Center model. I haven't actually built it yet, but in terms of like the landscape or whatnot, not really yet, no, but I do want to. I'm actually a huge fan of the look of the First Order army, and so I have almost 400 of those figures and wanted to make a Starkiller base, but Rich Boy J kind of beat me to that, and his is incredible. If you haven't checked him out yet, I would highly recommend doing so. How do you grow your channel? I started started at about the same time as you and I only have around 200 subscribers. I have been getting a lot of questions exactly like this or almost similar to this. And most of the time when people ask this, I'll go and check out their YouTube channel and realize the biggest flaw. If you want your channel to grow, you need to be consistent. This is probably the biggest thing that will help out any YouTube channel. If you noticed, I always upload 3 times a week. Minifig showcase on Sundays, custom sets on Tuesdays, and other random things usually on Friday. Sometimes I'll throw in extra videos if I have them, but that's not really happening as much anymore. A lot of the time when people ask me this, I go and realize that they haven't uploaded in 3 weeks, and then when they did upload, it was like 4 videos in a day. Really, consistency is the biggest thing. So it has to be said, production quality is up there too. Everyone has a learning experience with this, so don't feel bad if you don't get it right the first time. I mean, a lot of my earlier videos have just terrible sound quality. At the very least, you want to put some good background music on there, and YouTube has free resources for that now. Also, depending what your video is about, do giveaways. But you can't do them like bigger channels do them yet. What I mean is, don't put out a video saying that you're going to do a giveaway when you reach 1,000 subscribers, but you only have 200. I have seen that a lot more than I thought I would, and again, most of the time people put that out there, they're hoping that the giveaway will explode their channel. If you're putting out consistent videos and you're at, say, 200 subscribers and you go, hey, I'm going to do a giveaway when I reach 500, that might be more acceptable. What you really want to do, especially when you're smaller, is just do the giveaway in that video. Don't say that you're going to do it when you reach some imaginary number at some day that you don't know, just do it then and the numbers will come. Also, you're going to want to keep it simple as well. If you're still a small channel, you probably don't want to tell people to leave your channel, go to your Instagram, follow you there, and do a bunch of that stuff. People like M&R Productions can do that because they're already big enough where it makes sense for them to do that. If you're small, you really don't want to be doing that. You want to be keeping people on your channel as much as you can. Do I own any custom Jedi? I currently own 2 different custom Ahsokas along with an Obi-Wan and Anakin Mustafar. I have a Felucia version of Shakti, an episode 9 version of Rey, and a custom Kamino Jedi. Which Clone Legion is my favorite. Guys, there is a lot of smoke from a wildfire where I live, and it's bad. Anyway, the answer is the 104th Wolfpack. What color is the sky? Currently, it is dark and gray here, even though it is 2 in the afternoon. What exactly does using the code at Extra Minifigures do? Do I get anything from that? Using code BRICK at extraminifigures.com not only saves you 10%, but I do get a small portion of that money back. By buying anything off of Extra Minifigures and using my code, you are helping support the channel, so please do consider doing so if you're ever there. How's your day going? So far, really well, actually, thank you. Do I prefer the animated or realistic look for fate? Okay, see, that's the smoke. Do I prefer the animated or realistic look for Phase 2 Troopers? I don't have a preference, both are perfectly fine for me. What is my favorite season? Well, that depends what you mean. If you mean my favorite season of the Clone Wars, that would be Season 5. Favorite season of Rebels, then Season 2. If you're talking about Season of the Year, I would probably have to say Fall. If you're talking about Avatar The Last Airbender, then Season 3. If you're talking about The Expanse, Season 2. Or if you're talking about Seasoning, then Salt. Will you ever review this custom set that I made? Yeah, probably actually. I would love to start reviewing sets that viewers send in. I think that would be really fun to do, and I have done it a few times already. But I can't give a timeline on when I would review your particular set because I do have things planned out for a while. And also it really depends on what you send me as well. For instance, I've had 4 separate people send me ETA 2s now, and they all look really good and really cool, and I would love to be able to compare all of them one day. Why haven't you reviewed this custom set then? Money. Money is the biggest reason. There are a lot of wonderful sets out there that I would love to make, for instance Brick Vault's Ghost. But I don't have $1,500 lying around either, so I can't just get the pieces. Is there any way I would be able to help you get that set? Of course there is. The biggest way that you can help me is by signing up on my Patreon. The majority of that money goes directly to me, and it seriously helps me go a long way towards continuing this channel. Or consider buying my instructions or my merch. Both of those also support me. If you're not in a position where you can afford to spend any money, or say you're too young to do so, then the best thing you can do is watch every video through in its entirety. Make sure you like every video and that you comment on every video. Doing those 3 things really pushes the video out towards others and helps YouTube continue to spread it, meaning that it will be better for me, meaning that I can get more money from YouTube and make more videos. Of course, as the channel continues to grow, that will be an easier thing to do, but every little bit helps. Also, my cat's names are Cece and Sirius. Anyway, that's gonna be it for today. If you want to have your question answered the next time, then please head over to my Discord where you can ask me anything there. Please do remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Like I just said, it goes a long way towards helping the channel. If you haven't already, please do consider checking out my Patreon as well, where for only $3 a month you can see your name on screen, and I can give you a personal shout out like Jonathan and Jaden. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.